Hello everyone, welcome to Agile Project Management using JIRA tool. In the last session, we discussed about different issue types available in JIRA. Now in this session, we are discussing one more important feature, Scrum Board. What is Scrum Board? How to work with the Scrum Board. Here you have to make a note that each release for your project will be having a Scrum Board. Meaning, see, we know that each project may be having your multiple releases because in Agile, we will be having the incremental approach, iterative approach. So for each project will be having multiple releases. So for our current project, like Training by Prasad project is having two releases, version 1.0 and version 2.0. So for each and every release, you will be having one board. Board is nothing but, okay, in your 1.0 release, what are all the issues you are taking care? What are all the issues you are implementing for your project? Board is nothing but, in that board we will be having all the selected items which we are going to implement for that particular release. That is called board. So how to navigate to the board? Go to board. Here you can see your project. Select that one. Once you navigate it to the board will look like this. Now the board will look like this. Now if you observe this board will be having all the backlogs. Backlogs is nothing but, so backlogs are nothing but the items, the issues which need to be considered for your project. Now if you remember, like right earlier we created so many user stories, epics and defects. You can see this under this logs, under this backlog you can find all your user stories, defects and your task. This backlog section will be consists of your user stories and your defects and your task. It will not be available with your epics because epic is not a uh, simple requirement. Epic is a kind of module, it's a large requirement, and then we are dividing this epic into your smaller user stories. That's the reason this backlog will be having all the user stories along with your defects and your task. So backlogs is nothing but, as part of this particular project you need to complete all these issues. You need to complete all these issues as part of your project. Now for our current project we are having two releases, version 1 and version 2. So these are all the releases, version 1 and version 2. So now what I will do is I will be creating a board for my version 1.0 release, first release. So if you want to create a board, see, board is nothing but like you are creating a board for your release 1.0 means you will be having all the issues which needs to be completed in that particular release. So let me show you how to create a board and then how to move the items to your board. Let me start with that. Go to board, create a board, create a board. I wanted to create a board here. Click on this. So you want to create a board for your new project? No, I wanted to create for my existing project. Already project is available. That is Training by Prasad. Select this, click on next. Then your board will be created. So let me give a name. So I will give a proper name saying that this is my release 1.0 board. That means, so at the end of your release 1 you have to make sure that all the items in the board is completed. See, just imagine that you are having a blackboard. So in the board, what you will do is you will be writing all the tasks, all the work which needs to be completed. So whatever the work you need to complete for your project, you will be, everything will be listed out. And then once everything is completed, then you will say that I'm done with my current release. So board is nothing but it's a kind of place where you will be having all your work need to be completed for that particular release. Okay, just give a name, board name, and click on create board. Okay, once the board is created, what you can is you can navigate to your board by simply go to your boards and then you can select your required board. Once you select that board, all the details will be displayed here. Now you can see that from your project, see you are working with your training by Prasad project. In your project you are having these backlogs. That means we need to complete all these issues for your current project, and we are in the release 1. So in release 1, what are all the requirements, what are all the issues we need to implement? That for that your product owner will comes into picture, and your product owner will prioritize the issues in your backlog. See, in your backlog you are having around 15 issues here. So which issue needs to be taken care in your release 1.0 and release 2.0? This will be, these details will be given by your product owner. What your product owner will do is, product owner will give the priority for your issues. He will say that, okay, I wanted to implement these issues first, so he can give that priority. Just he can move that items to top. Okay, you can move the items to top, meaning this is nothing but the order of your issues needs to be taken care. So this is the order, priority order. I mean, as a product owner, what I can do is I will give the order for this issues which needs to be taken care by the team first. Okay, fine. Now in this release 1.0 we are having 15 backlog items which needs to be completed for your project, and each release will be having multiple sprints. See, let me repeat this. Earlier also, in earlier sessions I discussed, see, each project will be having the multiple releases, because here we are talking about the JIRA project. JIRA project will always be having the multiple releases, because it is not possible to deliver everything at a time in JIRA. In JIRA, what we will do is we will deliver in a incremental model. That means in release 1 we will deliver few requirements, and in release 2 we will deliver few requirements. So which requirements need to be delivered first and which requirements need to be delivered second, that will be decided by your product owner. Your product owner will give the priority for your requirements. As I showed you just now, your product owner will give the priority for your requirements. Based on the priority, we will be completing the task accordingly. Okay, so each release will be having, and one more point here is, each release will be having the multiple sprints. Sprint is nothing but iteration, it's a small iteration. So each sprint is nothing but like it's a kind of 2 to 3 weeks. Each release may be having 2 to 3 sprints, and each sprint will be having the timelines is 2 to 3 weeks. So we will not take more time for any sprint. Sprint will be ideal time is 2 to 3 weeks, and each sprint what we will do is we will be identifying few requirements, and then we will start working on that particular requirement in the sprints. I will be discussing more about your sprints in the upcoming sessions. Let's focus on this Scrum board now. So Scrum board is nothing but for each release you will be having one Scrum board, and then you can create your Scrum board for your current release. I created my Scrum board, and for this particular project is having these many number of backlog items. Backlog items is nothing but the items which needs to be completed for your current project. And then for each release you may be having your multiple scripts, multiple sprints. And assume that for our current project, training by Prasad project, is having 3 sprints. So let's talk about that sprints in the upcoming sessions. Thank you all.